getting started, Matt. Hello, hello, welcome, 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 welcome. How are my levels? Is the volume good? Is it low? High? Thumbs up? Is too low? Can I go rapper style and just go like this? Okay. Yes. So welcome. Appreciate you all spending some time with us this evening. Wanted to give you an official welcome to the Yellow Jackets Athletics Hall of Fame and Distinction Ceremony. And so, on behalf of myself, our Chancellor Stephanie Hickswa, the Athletics Department and the institution, wanted to give a congratulations to all of our inductees. So let's give a round of applause. I also want to give some shout outs to some very dedicated individuals in the crowd. So Holly West, where's Holly West at? She's right there. There we go. Round of applause. She's our associate AD for marketing, and she is spearheading this event. So she does a great job with all of our events. Also, want to give a shout out to Andrew Bonner and Logan Tracy at our table right there, our communications staff. They do a great job with everything in terms of all the social media hype and everything you see online. So they also are recording this event so all of our Hall of Fame inductees can watch this later on. And so I'll just give my welcome and get out of the way so you all can continue eating, and then we'll get this program started. So just wanted to appreciate you all for definitely spending some time with us and give us a chance to honor our former student athletes, our coaches, and our great supporters on their great accomplishments, because as they say, it's pretty cliche, but it's always better to give individuals, our beloved members, their flowers metaphorically while they still can smell them. And so before we transition into our program, I wanted to give you all an update of the great things going on up the road from the fall and the early winter. And so from this past fall, we've had 36 academic All-GNAC selections and 11 athletic All-GNAC selections. So out of our 236 student athletes, we have a department 3.29 GPA, 33 perfect 4.0s, 13 all A's, and then out of our 236 student athletes, 172 had over a 3.0 GPA, so that's over 72%. So quality students, quality athletes, and most importantly, quality people that we have on campus. And this winter, our men's and women's basketball teams are kicking some butt. I would say something more colorful, but there are children in the audience, so I do not want to swear. And so they're currently sitting at the top two positions in the GNAC conference, and they are tenacious, fierce, and they are finishing strong. So round of applause for our men's and women's basketball teams. And then track and field had a great two meets, where we had a couple individual event first place finishes, and we also had some school records being broken too. So round of applause for them as well. We want to transition to our athletic alumni base. And so we have currently 1,346 athletic alumni within Montana. We have 335 within Billings itself, and then 350 in Billings, and then internationally, 661. And so at this point, I want to ask all of our alumni, either EMC or MSUB, to stand so we can recognize you all. Either EMC or MSUB alumni. And so as we look back and we celebrate our past with our Hall of Fame inductees, it's a great time for us to look forward to the great things to come. But this year is definitely special. And the reason why is because it's the 50th anniversary of Title IX and the impact that it's had on women and their participation in athletics. So at this time, I want all of the women in the audience that have participated in either high school, college to stand so we can recognize you as well because you are truly trailblazers. Please stand. So as I close, I wanted to speak on the impact of just the individual. And so the individual has such a remarkable impact. So even a dollar from you all in the audience can have an impact on our current student athletes, future student athletes. So I would ask if you can so be obliged to potentially think about giving to our current student athletes. So see myself, see Krista Montague or Nick Schmidt, and we can be happy to talk about ways you can give to our current student athletes and our future athletics department. And so also wanted to remind you all that, we want you to stay connected. So we do a great job with social media. If you cannot make the events in person, so make sure you are tuned into our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the fancy social media platforms. And then before I transition to Ed, I would like to officially toast our Hall of Famers. So please grab your glasses. Let's toast our Hall of Famers. So Jackets for life. Here we go. Thank you again. Enjoy your evening.
Fly Eagles fly, right, Mike? Fly Eagles fly. How's dinner? Good? So there's a little rasp on the mic. Sorry about that. All right. Thank you, Mike, again. Round of applause for Mike Baismer, your athletic director. I'm Ed Brown. I am the director of admissions at NSU Billings, and I have the pleasure of being your MC for this evening. Let's start by giving the MSUB Alumni Association a huge round of applause for sponsoring tonight's cocktail hour. Tonight, you'll hear the story and history of 4 Yellow Jacket greats. These standout Yellow Jackets have showcased the unique spirit and character that have created the Yellow Jacket athletics legacy. Tonight, we celebrate our 2023 class of Yellow Jackets Athletics Hall of Fame. Brody Miller. Meg Harrison Chuck. Ty Elkin. And Janelle Olsen-Begger. So the competition still lives in these athletes, as you can tell by the competition of applause. Before we hear from tonight's class, let's talk a little bit about the selection process. Individuals may be nominated for Athletics Hall of Fame and distinction in any of the following categories: student athlete, coach, athletic director, and other person closely connected to the program. Athletics program. Coach of the Year, honor, distinction, or years of service and distinction. We have inducted 2 teams in recent years as well. Each individual nominated for this award has made a significant contribution to Yellow Jacket athletics as a student athlete, coach, or person closely connected to the program, or has made a significant contribution to business, education, coaching, or some other aspects of society since having been a Yellow Jacket student athlete, or a coach, athletic director, or another person connected to the program. Lastly, the nominees who have been out of the Yellow Jackets athletic program for at least 5 years before they are eligible. With the addition of the 2023 class, we will have 176 members and 2 teams in our Hall of Fame and distinction. Of the thousands of Yellow Jackets who have come before and the thousands of who will follow, this is truly an honor. Tonight, each honoree receives a golden plaque, and this same plaque will be on display at the Hall of Fame and Distinction area in Alterowitz Gym. Inductees will also receive a golden lifetime pass for all Yellow Jacket events. I kind of wanted to reflect because people are probably like, the director of admissions, why is he the MC? I get that a lot. So I wanted to share a quick story and a poem with you all. My grandfather was also a collegiate athlete. He also played in the NFL, but he had a leather helmet. So a little different NFL than we're used to. He moved to Montana and he coached many teams in the state, including high school and college. Unfortunately, not MSUB, but maybe some rivals we know about. And after he died, my grandma received a poem written by a nun for him. And this poem fits each and every athlete in the Hall of Fame and each and every athlete who ever has competed. And you might have heard it. It's titled If. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out in the world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in a state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you could ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or late, the man who wins is the one who thinks he can. I think that's touching and memorable for our athletes today. Now for the moment we've been waiting for. Here to introduce Brody Miller, his friend and former coach, Dan McKinney. I don't trust it.
So can I just stand over here?
Yeah. You do you.
Hey, thanks, Ed. Sorry, I'm just getting my lineup card ready for the plate meeting. Yellow Jacket softball is up 4-3 currently, so everything's good in my house tonight. So it's really ironic that Brody is leading off tonight because he's never led off in his life. And he's always been three hole, 4 hole. So good evening and welcome everyone. As Ed mentioned, my name is Dan McKinney, or as the softball girls know, Mr. Boomer. So yeah, I am extremely honored and humbled to be here to present Brody. Thanks to Brody and to the Miller family. Before we get going, special thanks. I know Mike thanked the athletic staff, but just being around them for the last couple of years and obviously my wife Boomer being part of the staff, I see what they do. So let's give them another round of applause for all the behind the scenes stuff. Congratulations to Ty, Janelle, and Meg. All great people, players, and contributors to MSUB. Just keep going in and out. I'll just yell. And back when Meg was a senior in 2012, for some reason I went to a lot of softball games, and I just want to be on record that it was not to watch Boomer. It was to watch Meg launch home runs up on the rims. Boomer does send her best and congratulations to everyone. I know she greatly appreciates Meg being on staff and wishes everyone a great night. So now we get to the man of the hour. So this is a special one for me. Sorry. I've known Brody since he was 13 years old. So we met down in Salt Lake City, a USA baseball event that actually Tanner Watson and Brode were a part of, and got to meet his wonderful parents, Bill and Chris, and just really clicked. I grew up in the Bitterroot Valley, and them being from Missoula, we had a lot in common and a lot to talk about. And from then on, Brody became Legion player at like 11 or something, I think. No, I think it was 14. And I was coaching Legion baseball in Bozeman at the time. And so I got to see Brody grow every year. Probably faced him 5 to 20 times a year. I love you, but there was times where I'm like, I wish this kid would move out of state. Like, he is just so good, so good. And I got to meet his parents and talk to them every time we saw him, and would talk to Brode after games, and it was just really cool experience. So our careers kind of mirrored each other in that regard. And then in 2010, when Coach Bishop came, it was a unique situation where it took a while for us to get a pitching coach, Chris Martin, and so it was Bish and I for the fall. And when we got into the recruiting cycle and we started talking about guys, Brody was the first guy that we talked about, and he checked all the boxes for us. Character. Hey,
Try this.
hot mic. Hello. Thanks, Amanda. This is the worst leadoff in the history of baseball. Sorry about that. Yeah, Brody checked all the boxes for us. I know Coach Bishop had already seen him when he was at Miles Community College, and I had seen Brody and family, character, intangibles, and he could flat out play. Probably one of the best Legion hitters I've ever seen. And it didn't matter who he was facing. If he was in Canada or in Utah, he could flat out play the game of baseball. And then when he committed to MSUB in April of 2011, in my opinion, he is a catalyst in that recruiting class, and he was at the forefront of changing the expectations of this program. And he's owed a lot in that regard. So when I think of Brody, I think of a bunch of things. Great person, a team first attitude, competitive as they come, maybe stubborn at times, mentally tough, had a business-like approach and always prepared, tremendous student of the game, always asking questions, grinder mentality. So I did a little quick math with Coach Martin the other day in the office, and the weather is not great around here, but we would always have early BP. So practice starts at 2:30. We get BP going at 1 o'clock, and Brody didn't miss a day in 4 years. And so I don't know how many weeks that is, but we figured it was 12,000 to 15,000 extra swings that he took every day. And I know by the end of his senior year, he had 14, 15 guys that he brought along with him. So he led that team. He was an up 10, down 10 guy. So it didn't matter. Do we go out again? Didn't matter who we were playing or who was on the mound or where were they from or how much facial hair they had. He was going to play, and he was going to play the game the right way. He was going to play hard, and he was going to do everything that he could to help us win. He was a quiet leader. He didn't say much. Didn't say much unless you didn't hit him in the chest. Then he'd probably get after you. And he was extremely confident. And I've never met a really good player that wasn't extremely confident. And I learned about that confidence pretty early in his career. It's opening weekend. We're down at CSU Pueblo, and it's probably the third or fourth inning. And we have Brody starting as a true freshman as an 18-year-old, and our shortstop is 25. So Colby Robinson went on a mission and then came back, and I think he graduated and he was like 32. So we're like, oh, hey, hey, Kolb, you're in charge of Brode. Just, take him under your wing and go from there. So a ball gets hit into the 6 hole, and Colby goes over there and fields it, runner on first, excuse me, and kind of jeters it back to Brode. He picks it up, throws it to first, and I'm like, there's no way we're getting that guy. So, like, we should just come through the bag, catch the ball, eat it. So it's like a scene from A League of Their Own, and I channel my inner Tom Hanks, and I'm like, Brody, come here after the inning. And I go through the spiel like, hey, we should just play for one, get it out, whatever. And he looks at me, and because I had a relationship with him, I took this the right way. And he said, oh, I'll make that play. Well, he also is the career leader in double plays turned in GNAC history. So. And then in game 2, he hit a bomb. So. All those attributes and characteristics that made Brody so special resulted in the greatest career in MSUB baseball history, and included the following: current GNAC leader in walks, current GNAC career leader in conference games alone in hits, assists, and double plays, and is in the top 10 career GNAC in at-bats, runs scored, hits, RBIs, doubles, home runs, total bases, and sacrifice flies. He was honored as 3-time All-GNAC, 2-time All-Region, 2-time All-American, 2-time GNAC Player of the Year. In one 4-game series, I read in an article, he homered 4 times with 2 grand slams, 3 doubles, and 14 RBIs. Yeah. Just a ho-hum weekend, huh? And in his senior year, he was named the GNAC Player and Male Athlete of the Year and the MSUB Male and Baseball Player of the Year. No doubt the greatest career in MSUB baseball history. I'm gonna close this out, and then I've got a special message from somebody. So this is from me. I'm proud of you, the person you are, the father you have become, and I'm honored to welcome you as only the 2nd player since baseball returned in 2006 and 12th overall to the MSUB Athletics Hall of Fame. Congratulations. In closing, I have a special note from someone I know wishes could be here tonight and sends his best. Congratulations, Brody. I'm so happy for you, and I hope you and your family enjoy the Hall of Fame weekend. From the first time I saw Brody play as a Legion rookie, I knew he was special. Just a ball player. Brody's bad days were really good, which is the highest compliment I can give a player. On his good days, he simply dominated games. Brody made his teammates better and played the game with feel and intelligence, in addition to being very talented. In my opinion, Brody had the best career of any position player in GNAC history. In order to gain that kind of status, a player needs to make an impact immediately and stay all 4 years at a campus. Brody did much more than that, than make an impact his first year, as he started each game that the Yellow Jackets played that season. He repeated that feat 4 times, which is remarkable in its own right. Brody didn't just play every game, he excelled, hitting .347 for his career, along with 49 doubles and 25 home runs. He leads the MSUB career ranking in 15 categories. Many of these records will stand forever, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to witness every one of them. The numbers and stats are staggering, but the most impressive part of Brody's career was his grinding consistency. He showed up every day and did what was necessary to help our team succeed. That resiliency and consistency is what all Hall of Famers have in common. Congratulations, Brody, you have earned it. Former MSUB head baseball coach Rob Bishop. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brody Miller. one works.
Did you get the technical difficulties worked out? Yeah. Congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I chose Dan to introduce me. We go way back ever since I was playing at Big Sky Baseball. That's when we first met. And I think everything that I've learned in my entire career is based on relationships. And when me and Dan first met, there was a connection there. I trusted him. He trusted me. And so when I was looking at places to go play baseball, there was a ton of people calling. Didn't know really where to go. All of a sudden, Rob Bishop calls and Dan calls, and he promised me that I would play every day, all 4 years, and he held up on that promise. So I want to thank him for that. The goal was never to break any records or anything. As soon as I sat down with Rob, his whole goal was to put this program back on the map, and hopefully we've done that for everybody. But I want to thank, none of this is possible without my mom, my dad, my mom playing catch with me out in the backyard until she couldn't see it anymore. And then my dad doing the same thing. You know, when I came back from college, he tried to play catch with me too. I remember I threw one at him a little too hard and he couldn't catch it either. So thanks for trying. And then none of this would be possible without the support system that I have today. So thank you for everybody that I work with, my family, and everybody here tonight, celebrating everybody else that's inducted tonight. So have a good night. Thank you.
Dan, okay, Fred, come on. We need a photo up here.
Good job, Brody.
Stand back up here.
That's yours.
What's that?
I think that's yours.
Oh, thank you.
One more time for Brody. Apologize for the mic issues. We're going to keep it in the stand. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it was Dan's electricity. Don't know. But because of the issue, the next round of drinks are on City Bar in Great Falls. So you all get a round of drink. City Bar in Great Falls and Watson family will sponsor this next round of drinks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Here to introduce Meg Harrison-Check is her former coach, Becca Gasner, and her dad, David Harrison-Check.
All right, hello everyone. I'm actually here on behalf of Coach McKinney, who's also known as Boomer, more commonly known as Boomer. I don't know why she actually took his name. I don't know. Good, that's good, right? So maybe it was you. All right, so she's currently on the road with the softball team, but she wanted me to share a few words for Meg. So here we go. First of all, I would like to say congratulations to all the Hall of Fame inductees tonight. I wish I could be there with you all to celebrate this wonderful evening of recognizing some of the greats from MSUB. Our team is currently in California, ballin' outrageous, just for Meg. Meg has been and probably always will be one of the greatest hitters in MSUB history. She only had a short 2 years here with us, but she left her mark, quite literally. She has had one of the hardest hit balls that I've ever seen in my life. If you know our field, you know the rims are right behind our outfield fence, And Meg hit a ball so hard that the ball actually stuck in the rims. Most of the time when people hit balls out to the rims, they hit it and they roll down and we get it back no problem. This ball stuck in the rims. It did not come down, it stuck there. Some of our fans actually made a sign for Meg and stuck it exactly where she hit it and left it there all season. But unfortunately, Meg did not get to hit too many balls out there at our field after that because most of the teams figured, I better not pitch to this girl. So we saw this the most the week she earned National Player of the Week for Division II softball with 11 intentional walks, 4 home runs, one of which is a grand slam, 1 double, which I'm pretty sure was a missed pitch that should have been a pitch out, 2 stolen bases, and 11 RBIs. At this point in time, she led the nation in home runs per game and was 5th in the nation with total home runs. Meg was amazing. Another story that I will always remember about Meg was the Tournament of Champions. We had gone into extra innings with the team. I can't remember which team. But we had a runner on second for the international tiebreaker. Meg was leading off the inning, so I went up to check on her, make sure she was ready to bunt to move the runner over. And if you know anything about Meg, Meg doesn't bunt. So she gave Boomer the look and said, "No way, I'm hitting away." So Boomer replied, "Great, that's exactly what I wanted to hear." I believe she ended up flying out to an outfielder, but I always remembered how much confidence she had in herself when she came up to that situation and was making sure that she was not going to be someone else, even though the game of softball told her that in this situation, it was time to bunt. Meg did what she did best, as always, and she did it for the 2 years here. Meg has never been one of many words, but she got the job done. Still to this day, she is in several of the top 10 offensive categories, sometimes even twice. For example, she is tied for first and second in home runs per year. And if I listed all of her stats, we'd be here all night. She is listed in our career and season stats book 41 times. We are fortunate to have her on staff this year. I know she's already changed our players' lives in the short time that she's been with us. I'm super proud of the woman she has become, and I can't wait to see what else she will accomplish. Congrats, Meg. Keep on balling outrageous. Love, Boom.
Hello. First of all, to Brody, you balled outrageous. Balled outrageous. Congrats to you. There's not a lot of athletes out there, can you hear me okay? Yeah. That have those kind of stats. That's impressive. My name is David Harrisimchuk. I'm Meg's dad. I'd like to welcome all of you to this event. Appreciate you coming out tonight. I especially want to thank MSUB leadership and administration for this event and recognizing these special athletes. I don't know where to begin, so I'm going to start at the beginning. When she was 4 or 5 years old, softball players, it has been said, are made in the backyard. Meg, at about 6 years old, is up there getting her feet right, swinging the bat on the wiffle ball, making me chase that damn thing. Now, I mean, over the house, over the fence, out in the sagebrush. 6 years old, she's up there getting her feet right, swinging the bat, and she looks at me and she says, "Dad, I'm going to play for Montana someday." Had to break her the news. Montana didn't have a softball team at that time. "It's okay, Dad. They will." Here she came. Being her dad, I got to watch the whole thing. Her mom and I traveled all over Western United States watching this girl develop her game. From the minor leagues to the major leagues and Little League to the juniors to being a 3-time All-State softball player at 2 different positions, not to mention the fact she played on a multi-state basketball championship team in Nevada. Meg's a girl that was so quiet. She didn't cheer, she didn't do any of that kind of stuff, but you walked off the bench and she was the first one to tell you, "Hey man, good job. Keep it up. Play hard." Ball, outrageous. She made that up, by the way. I think I'm gonna have to coin that phrase. I can make some money on the deal. So Meg walked up on a lot of different teams, built her character, built her place quietly. We didn't play daddy ball. She had to do it on her own. Every single team that Meg walked onto, she did it on her own. I believe she was a freshman. We got a phone call 4th of July. A friend of mine in Utah asked us if Meg would be interested in playing on a travel ball team. And it wasn't really up to Gail and I, it was up to Meg. So we asked her and she's like, "What time do we leave?" So that started a career of playing 30 games a year to 180 games a year. And that developed her all the way through all these various coaches that helped her in her confidence and build character and leadership, which became so important in her later years, and she brought that to MSUB. I think one of the things that I'm most proud of is her ability to bring a team together. There was some controversy and stuff, walking into MSUB. That team came together. They won an outrageous amount of ball games. And doing so, she cemented her career with not only MSUB, but most importantly, with her teammates. Her coach, Boomer, and Becca, amazing individuals who instilled and let her be herself, but instilled a lot more confidence, and she's pretty confident. That girl would step up to the plate and you knew something good was gonna happen. So I gotta tell a couple of stories that sort of gives you an idea where Meg's head always was. In Montana, every story begins, "Y'all ain't gonna believe this." Well, we played against Fernley, that was a top 10 or top state championship softball team every year. And that coach did not like Meg. And the reason she didn't like her is because Meg spoiled her undefeated seasons, not once, but twice. That coach called out Meg at a game in Fernley one time where she stepped up to the plate and hit a home run. The coach called the umpire over and made the umpire check her bat. He did, made Meg pull her bat. Meg walked over to the dugout, grabbed her old bat, hit another home run over center field. Then to add just a touch to the insult, Next time she came to bat, she hit another one. That's when she was a junior, and so the next year, she's a senior. Game's tied. The friendly coach tells her pitcher out loud, don't throw anything at this girl. We want to walk her. But at that time, you had to throw the pitches. So they did. We had a girl on second base. Pitcher got a little bit too close. Meg Jackson went off the wall for a double, and they score and they win the game and wreck another undefeated season. That coach took her bat and threw it at our dugout. In total, she was so frustrated with Meg. And at the end of that game, and this is one of the highest compliments that can be paid, that coach walked over and said, you know what? I am so glad that girl is graduating. I am sick of it. So for us, for Gail Honey, for my friends, for my family, for the outrageous Yellow Jacket ball team that balled outrageous, we thank you. We thank you for the opportunity to stand here and allow me to not cry. Introduce my daughter, the fifth Hall of Famer from the Yellow Jackets, and my fabulous daughter. It is my pleasure to introduce Meg Harrison-Chuck.
All right, well, since Brody didn't take up a lot of time, hopefully I can have a couple minutes of yours. So I'm not really a public speaker, so sorry if my voice is a little bit shaky, but we're gonna get through this, okay? So I'm gonna give you a little background here. But first off, I wanna thank you, my dad, Boom, and Becca for the introduction. And thank you to everyone that is here tonight to celebrate not only me, but the other inductees, Brody, Janelle, and Ty. I want to thank everyone that came to this event tonight, hosted by MSUB. You sure know how to make a girl feel special. Those tables over there, they're my tribe, and I really wouldn't be standing here today in front of you if it weren't for them. So thank you for your unwavering support. Okay, we're gonna get through the hard part first. I want to start off by thanking my mom and dad. Without them, I would not be standing in front of you today. They were the ones who made the ultimate sacrifice. Countless of hours taking me to and from practice, and all the money that was spent on hotel rooms, gas, travel team costs, and all the softball gear throughout the years, because we all know that's not cheap. They drove hundreds of thousands of miles throughout my high school career, travel ball, and my college softball games. They only missed a few series over my entire career. Talk about the dedication. My fondest memories of playing softball were when my parents were in the stands watching me. It just gave me a sense of comfort and relief to have such a strong support system. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for really making my wildest dreams come true. Words will never be enough for you both. So thank you again, and I love you so much. To my brother, he also made the sacrifice. He was starting his early adult life when I was starting to dive deep into softball. That meant he wasn't going to see my parents very often, since the world kind of revolved around softball and traveling. I can proudly say he is a very selfless person, and I'm really lucky that I get to call you my big brother. Thank you for always rooting for me, and I love you. To my best friend, Emily, thank you for always rooting for me and being in my corner. I know it's not easy being a friend with an athlete, so thank you for always being there for me, rooting for me, and standing by my side for the past couple of decades. Okay, so I grew up in a little town called Spring Creek, Nevada, and it's not anywhere near Las Vegas. When I was little, I actually wanted to be a basketball player. So, Janelle, thanks for holding it down. I actually wanted to play softball just for fun. So I came to realize that I wasn't the best basketball player, but I was athletic enough to be pretty decent at it. So I grew up smashing wiffle balls in the backyard with my dad. And I should have known then that I was meant to be a softball player, not a basketball player. My story is a little bit different than most who are inducted tonight. I was a junior college transfer. I played in Coos Bay, Oregon at Southwestern Oregon Community College for 2 years. When I was deciding where to go for college at the time, I knew what I wanted, and that was to go to a small school to make an instant impact. In my mind, I wanted to go to college and start right away and not have to sit the bench for 2 years. In a 4-year program, I didn't want to sit the bench for 2 years in a 4-year program and only get to play my last 2 years in my seasons. I made a skills video. This is how old I am. I'm really aging myself here. Never thought I'd say that. So I made a lot of DVDs and literally mailed them out in manila envelopes with a stat sheet to a whole bunch of coaches across the Pacific Northwest. And mind you, I wasn't sending them to Division I schools, even Division II schools. I was a small town kid. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to go play at a small school. Thankfully, head coach Megan Correa reached out to me from SWAC, and we set up a recruiting trip. My parents drove me 12 hours to the very small coastal town. That would end up being the only recruiting trip I took. Sorry. I woke up that morning to go have breakfast with the coach, tour the school, and then on to some practice. After that practice, I stepped in the car and I said, well, looks like Coos Bay, Oregon is where I'm coming next year. My parents didn't try to persuade me to keep looking for other colleges because they knew they raised a daughter who was determined and independent. My arrival at SWAC was emotional, but also a relief that I made it. And now it was time to go out and prove myself to a new coach and new teammates. The first couple weeks at a new place is a bit challenging. You're maneuvering, new roommates, new teammates, new coaches, new school, new area. I mean, you visited that area for less than 48 hours. It's pretty mind-boggling. So we didn't waste any time. We started 2-a-day practices, and that really built some mental toughness. We knew if we could make it through the week, we would be able to make it through our season. I came to SWAC as a potential center fielder, but I wanted to play wherever the team needed me, and that was left field. That would be my home for the next 4 years. And I truly fell in love with that position. We surprised a lot of people that year because SWAC was never a powerhouse of the southern region. Mount Hood was. Boo. But we became a powerhouse that year and shocked a lot of people right away. We were the underdogs and played with a chip on our shoulder. We made it into our championship weekend in Portland where it was blazing hot, and some kids from the coast were just not used to that. But we played through it. We knocked out the defending champions that weekend, Lower Columbia, and made it to the next day. We ended up losing to Walla Walla, and we took third at NWACS, which created an even bigger chip on our shoulder for the following year. My sophomore year at SWAC was all that I hoped for. We were back and better than ever. The league was aware of our potential that year, so we had the goal, and our goal was to make a run for the championships again. This time we just had a target on our backs. And we were the type of people that kind of like that feeling. So it was a whole different feeling than our freshman campaign. We finally had some respect among the league. I had the goal of being an All-American my sophomore year. I had the goal as a freshman too, but I came up a vote short. My coach made sure she told me about that. So took some extra reps in the outfield, and I really took some extra reps in our field house that we had. I wanted to be known for my defense as much as my offense, because I wanted the other teams to know if they hit it to left field that they didn't stand a chance. I was named co-MVP of the Southern Region and NFC All-American that year. I hit a sophomore slump one time for our season. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life at that moment. I thought I would have had more offers on this table to continue my play, but I really didn't. So I sat down with my coach and I told her I wasn't sure that I wanted to go play somewhere else other than SWAC. I love SWAC. It's what made me who I am today and took me to the next level. Coach Correa looked me dead in the eyes and said, "The hell you are. You have too much talent not to go and play." So here I am. She got into contact with Tony Stone at MSUB and we set up a recruiting trip. I made my way over to Billings, Montana with my teammate Annalisa at the time. After that trip, it took me about a week to decide that Billings was going to be my next destination. I chose MSUB because I liked the fact the classrooms were more personable. There was a sense of community around campus and the people. It also didn't hurt that my grandpa only lived 2 hours away and that I would be able to share those valuable years with him. I realized after I made my decision to come to MSUB, I alleviated a lot of the stress I was feeling and was able to really focus and get out of my slump. We made another run to the championships that year. It wasn't a normal championship weekend. We won our game Friday, which moved us into the next day. Unfortunately, Mother Nature had a different plan, and it started to rain Friday evening. We should have won it. So it started to rain Friday evening into Saturday, then into Sunday. We were finally able to play that Monday, but that was the only day we could play. So we had the potential to play 4 to 5 games in one day. That's something that I would never hope would happen today to athletes and their bodies, because it was pretty rough. So we started out the morning, run ruling the first team, then on to the next team we beat. Next was playing Clackamas. We had to beat this team to make it to the championship series against Mount Hood, because of course they won. We ended up beating Clack by 1 run in the 11th inning. So 2 games in like 1 game. So that was really cool. Talk about a whirlwind. After we beat Clackamas, we ran over to the field to play Mount Hood. We ended up getting beat the first game, so the championship title went to Mount Hood. I was just happy I wouldn't have to play Mount Hood again, and that Nicole Colpron would be on my team next year and we didn't have to battle against each other anymore. After SWAC, I spent a short summer at MSUB. Spent a short summer at home. MSUB started school right after Labor Day, so SWAC didn't get out until June, so it was a very quick turnaround. So I had to make my way to Billings in August, a week before school and practice officially started. I faced a difficult situation going into MSUB because when joining the team, I just had shoulder surgery that summer for what they thought was a labrum tear at the time. I hadn't experienced this in my entire softball career. So what I thought was going to be a 2 to 4 month recovery ended up being 9 to 12 months. When I woke up from surgery, the surgeon told me I had more damage in my shoulder and it wasn't just my labrum. Finally dawned on me that I would not be able to use my right arm for 6 weeks due to the extensive surgery. I couldn't even take it out of my brace unless it was for water therapy. This time period was the most challenging for me and gave me a lot of questions. The main question was, how is this going to impact me getting back onto the field in a starting position and playing? My goal was to show up at MSUB and instantly make an impact like I did at SWAC. But I was unable to because I was restricted to any throwing motion. let alone picking up a bat and swinging it. It was a gut punch for sure. So thoughts of self-doubt sunk in, and it made me question if I made the right decision to have the surgery. Of course it was, because who wants to play through all that pain all the time? So it was just mentally exhausting. I realized this is a moment where I make a different impact on my team. I couldn't do it on the field in the beginning, so I had to create relationships with my teammates in other ways, whether that was in the weight room with Don Joy, shagging balls at practice, which I was never good at, or placing balls on tees for my teammates, and I was okay. Got a little distracted. So I sat down with the coaching staff and we went over some options, and those options were redshirting. I told them absolutely not, and they could expect me to be on the field one way or another. Excuse me. But I was not going to redshirt. I took it as a slight challenge just to show them I would be ready to come conference time. I worked really hard in the athletic training room and with my physical therapist learning how to throw a softball, something that I have done well since I was 5 years old. Those doubts start to sink in, especially to an outfielder that was able to throw it from left field to home plate without bouncing it. I went home for Christmas break, and my doctor finally cleared me to start a throwing progression rehab program, and he said that I could swing a bat, but he told me just to listen to my body. I was so pumped to be able to finally swing a bat with 2 hands since I haven't been able to for 7 months. I had to progressively work up to throwing, and it wasn't going to happen overnight. I progressed further and further with throwing every week. My hope was to be ready for our first tournament in Vegas. I wasn't ready defensively, but offensively was a different story. I finally was able to have a chance to prove myself to this team. I was put in the lineup as a designated hitter. And to be the designated hitter on the 2010 MSUB softball team was an accomplishment in itself. We were a power team. I loved being the designated hitter. You had one job, and that was to produce offensively for your team. Bring it on. I love it. So, I love the pressure of hitting. The more pressure that was put on me, the calmer I seemed to be in the box. When conference play finally came around, I found myself playing left field and batting in the 3-hole behind leadoff Bobby Lee, who had some crazy stat like 40 consecutive game hit streak for MSUB in the GNAC, and in front of 2 of the most feared hitters to come through MSUB, Hall of Famer Kelly Parsons and Casey Hoffman. 2 seniors that were ballers and people that held you to a high standard. Talk about adding some pressure onto your shoulders as a junior that just showed up to this team. But they were the best teammates to have hit behind you, knowing that they always had your back, and if you didn't do your job, they'd pick you up and get the job done. Between the 3 of us, we had hit 39 home runs. As a team altogether, we hit 63 home runs that season. My junior year, we definitely had our highs and lows, but we were able to persevere through the lows. We ended up missing regionals by 1 spot that year, and that was just heartbreaking because we knew we were really talented, and we were also sad that we couldn't pull through for our seniors that season. I received Newcomer of the Year, and that added an additional target on my back going into my senior year. Everyone now knew who I was in the league. That being said, I had to change up my plate appearances. I knew the pitchers weren't going to pitch anything that I wanted, so I had to make sure to hit their first mistake. Starting out my fall senior season, I had way too much pressure onto myself. I just came off my junior season, which was a great year, and I wanted to be better. That first showing that weekend, I was not better. I was bad, like real bad. My parents knew I was frustrated, so we had a little break between games and we went to go get some lunch, and my dad asked what I was feeling. I told him I was feeling the pressure, not from the coaching staff or my teammates, but the pressure I put on myself and the goals I wanted to accomplish that season. I had the goal in mind of trying to hit the most home runs in a single season. He told me to trust myself and to control the controllables, which I should have known that's what he was going to say, and not to be bigger than the game. He said it was my senior year and to go out and have fun and let the game come to me, to stay within myself and trust my talent. I've gotten this far doing exactly that. That's all I needed to hear, and thankfully that conversation was at the beginning of the year, not in the middle of the season. The weekend that sticks out so vividly, I think Boomer and Becca touched on it a little bit, so here you go. It was when we were playing Western Oregon here. We were on a 7-game win streak. I love to play against Western Oregon because a lot of the girls I played against that SWAC played for those GNAC teams, and Western Oregon had a few pitchers that I love to hit off of. I started out the series on fire, smoked a home run my first at bat. I thought I hit a double my next at bat, but Becca obviously tells a different story, so I'm a little vague there. I had 11 intentional walks that weekend, but the best moment was when the game really came full circle. We were down in the bottom of the 7th, bases were loaded, and we were 1 run down. I was up to bat, and the decision was made to switch pitchers. It was either they walk me again or give me a chance to hit. And to my surprise, they were going to throw to me. They were trying to keep it on the outside corner, but the pitcher missed her walk-off grand slam. Those are the moments you really play for. They kept the bat out of my hands all weekend, and when they finally gave me the opportunity to swing it, I made sure I made them pay for it. After that weekend, I was surprised to be named the National Player of the Week. Such a cool, amazing honor. I was still going to chase that home run single season record I didn't have a chance for, the career home run record, since I wasn't a 4-year starter at MSUB. I reached my goal without applying the pressure onto myself. I let them pitch to me and the hits would come. I was at about 13 home runs when I slid into second and I hurt my wrist. I taped it up and played through it. When it wasn't taped, I was wearing a wrist brace. So that was really cool, walking around campus like that. I was determined to not let it affect my game, or so I thought. But it was very detrimental to my swing. I was scared to swing the bat. And boom, my coach, she knew it. I remember vividly, we were at Western Washington, and we had a little break between games, and I'd come back into the dugout to look at the lineup, and I was batting 8th. I was not happy about that. Looking back at it, I should have been happy that I was just still in the lineup. She told me that I was struggling to hit after my wrist injury, and she thought that they might give me some better pitches at the 8th spot. I obviously took it a little bit differently, but maybe there was a little bit of needing to figure my stuff out and see how I respond if they moved me down in the lineup. I was only in that spot for about a game. After that weekend, we had a home series, and Boone pulled me aside and said I wasn't playing. I needed to rest my wrists and get back into the swing of things, literally. I just wasn't swinging the bat like I should have been before I was injured. It killed me to be in that position and not be able to help my teammates win, but I knew there was a bigger picture, and that I needed to get healthy enough to be able to swing and not have a mental block while doing it. I finally was able to get those last 2 home runs to tie the single season home run record with MSUB Hall of Famer Teresa Campbell. Nothing was going to hold us back that year to making it to regionals. We were determined because we had a small taste of it last year and we wanted the whole experience. The last half of the season, we hit a bit of a slump. We lost about 8 games in a row. We were losing our chance to go to regionals. Senior weekend rolled around, and we either had to win our last game or we needed another team to lose a game so we could go. Going into our last game at home, we found out that the other team lost and we sealed our regional hopes. We ended up winning our last home game, Montana style, in a blizzard. We went into regionals on a high note, but we weren't able to pull off any wins, unfortunately. But we had set the example for the underclassmen. My best moments and memories were spending time with my teammates on the road. That is where you truly create your lifelong bonds to amazing people. So thank you to all my teammates and coaches for providing an environment where student athletes could thrive. I was really blessed with great teammates throughout the years, and I look forward to sharing many more milestones with you ladies. Thank you to Megan Correa, my junior college coach, the one who really made a substantial impact on my young adult life and who made me into a decent enough player to go play at the Division II level. Thank you to my coaches, Boomer and Becca. I would not be in the position I am today receiving this award without those two. They were able to pick us up as a team when we needed it the most, and I will forever be grateful for those two amazing women. Also, a special thank you to my wife for pushing me to get back into coaching at MSUB. Without her support, sacrifice, and understanding, I would not have got back into the coaching world. It has really been a full circle moment for me. So thank you for pushing me to be the best version of myself. I love you. And thank you for MSUB for providing a lifetime of wonderful memories for us.
David, you want to come up for a picture? Yeah, remember, you still got that drink from last session.
I need a drink.
Good job.
What, me?
Yeah? Becca coming? Becca, come on.
Watch out, John. Becca's coming.
Get out of the way. One more for me.
Watch
Thank
it.
you.
We'll gather these.
No, I'm taking it. Here, I'll get it. Hey, Meg, give me that.
We'll gather you at the end, then you can take it.
Sorry.
No, you're
Okay.
good. You're good. You're good. Just take a minute. See you.
See you. Like Brody was out back all the way
Oh,
there,
right.
Brody, that's unreal.
Right.
Um,
Unreal.
man, that's D1 material.
I know. It's crazy.
And how nice to have that associated to MSUB.
I know. We got a lot of fantastic athletes.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. It's like I think about it, ones that are still coming up next, like they're going to be eligible. You know, we should agree on stuff that she's doing.
And then you have another one right here, Bobby Lake.
Oh, yeah.
That girl, she balled outrageous. Her stats are unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's love the whole atmosphere and the vibe here. And
Good.
yeah, put on nice presentation. It's really been a good experience.
Well, good.
Can I get you a drink?
No, I'm good. I start drinking, then I mess up. So I'll do that after. Make sure you go get. Holly's got drink tickets, so make sure you get drink.
I'll be the first one to run you down when you're done.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Once again, thank you, Meg. Here to introduce Ty Elkin, his daughter, Haley Elkin.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Haley Elkin. I'm honored to be here today with you all as I discuss one of the most important people in my life. Ty Elkin, or as I call him and will reference him throughout this speech, Dad, is a role model for not only myself, but many others in Billings and beyond. As I began to write this speech, I really tried to dive deep into Dad's history at MSUB. I was frantically searching Google for his basketball stats and college GPA, and I soon realized that his contributions to both MSUB and society spread much further than his points scored per game or his GPA from 1991 through 1995. His most significant contributions, in my eyes, are his work ethic, determination, and positive impact that he has made on others throughout his life. The amount of people Dad has positively impacted is far beyond my knowledge, but what I know is that it spreads far and wide. To ensure I'm not only speaking on behalf of my own personal bias, I want to take the time to quote Jace Webb, a former MSUB basketball player and roommate of Dad's. Jace was diagnosed in 2013 with ALS and continues to inspire everyone, including my dad, while he fights to live each and every day. Jace says, Ty's athletic endeavors are worthy of accolades truly, but around the time he put on the yellow jacket uniform for the last time, was able to stop icing his knees after every practice, and graduated from MSUB is when his story takes flight. Ty hit the ground running after school, starting in commercial real estate. Although he found it rewarding, a newly married man was looking for stability, and I remember Ty telling me, I can't work on commission much longer. I need to know what I'm making every month so I can plan life. Dad does not boast of his accomplishments or contributions, so I turned back to Google to help me out. I probably could have asked numerous people for this information, but being the slight introvert that I am, Google sounded a bit better. Of course, I do know his current and past jobs without anyone's help. For 23 years, Dad worked in the banking industry, the majority of that time at Yellowstone Bank. He served as the president of Yellowstone Bank for many years, later holding an executive position at Stockman Bank. Along with his positions in the banking industry, he was the president of St. Vincent Foundation, and he is now a senior relationship manager and investment advisor representative for Allied Investment Advisors. Come to find out through my Google searches, Dad is on the board of directors at both Youth Dynamics and Horses Spirits Healing. He has previously served as the president of Big Sky Economic Development Authority and has been involved in Billings Breakfast Exchange Club, Yellowstone County Relay for Life, Billings Chamber of Commerce, among other organizations. Despite his involvement in and around our community, the one thing that makes Dad a Hall of Famer in my eyes is simply the person he naturally is. Now back to what Jace Webb has to say. For those of you here tonight that know Ty, whether he cashed a check for you, was your loan officer, raised money for your organization, or is currently advising your investment portfolio, we can all agree he is uncommonly genuine in all aspects of his life. His handshakes and smiles are real. His honesty in everything but golf is real. His dedication to the people in this community, to MSU Billings, to supporting scholarship, to his family and friends, remains a shining example of how we wish more people were and why we honor him tonight. Outside of that, he is also my friend. I think Jace basically sums it all up perfectly, but I have just a few more comments to add about my dad. Along with the mentioned jobs and responsibilities that Dad has had throughout my life, his number one and most important job was and still is being a father. For those that may not know, my mom, Heather, and Dad met through what we know now as MSUB, then Eastern Montana College. They were both basketball players who took very similar paths to get here. My mom has always said, from the moment I saw Ty in the fall of 1992, I knew he would be my husband. I think it goes without saying that MSUB is an important aspect of our lives, as I would not be standing here today if they would not have met here some 30 years ago. We wouldn't be a family had my parents not found their perfect fit in Eastern Montana College. With busy schedules and high job demands, Dad never missed out on the important parts of our lives. From attending every sporting event to spending hours in the gym with both me and my brother Tate working on basketball skills, coaching my travel ball team, coaching Tate's baseball teams for 5 summers, and coaching Tate's Billings Christian School high school team with Coach Kars. Dad's goal was and always will be to raise us kids, provide us with the best opportunities, and support us in all of our endeavors. To wrap up this speech, I decided I would take the time to reflect back on a moment in my life that I just really needed my dad. I wanted this part to be really personal, but it's hard for me to express in words how good of a dad and person he is, and choosing just one moment out of thousands is difficult. So I'll reflect back on one moment I'll always remember because it has helped shape who I am and what I do today. Today, I am an elementary school teacher at McKinley Elementary, and I'm completing my master's degree in curriculum and instructional design this year. I would not be where I am today without the support and guidance of my dad. As embarrassing as it is, I attended just about every college in Montana, committed and uncommitted to play basketball in South Dakota, and changed my major at least 3 different times. My college years were pretty messy, one reason being I had no idea what I wanted to do and who I was. I remember living in Missoula and thinking that I wanted to drop out of school. I was considering being a preschool teacher, and I told my dad about that idea. I vividly remember him encouraging me not to follow that plan. He knows that I am the type of person that takes time commitment, salary, and professional duties into consideration when deciding what I am going to do, and I believe he knew I was searching for an easy way out. Dad first encouraged me to look up the salary of a preschool teacher, so I did, $22,000 to $24,000 a year. But Dad, that's a lot of money, and it's not all about the money. Well, here I am 3 years later, working a job that is truly not about the money, but it's a job I can say I worked hard for, a job I spent a considerable amount of time studying to ensure it is something I truly wanted to do. Dad is the reason I am an elementary teacher. His words of advice, encouragement, and wisdom led me here. It would be foolish of me to say that I am the person that I am because of myself. My dad was and always will be the type of guy that supports your goals and dreams while also giving advice based on your wants and needs. Advice that will surely make you a better person. His knowledge and wisdom comes from a place of experience and hard work, always with your interests and needs in mind. I feel these are extremely vital qualities for any businessman, financial advisor, board member, or avid community supporter should entail. With these qualities in mind, I am proud and honored to introduce my dad, Ty Elkin.
What's that? She hates hugs. She won't do it. I made my print. I think my font is at 20, so I didn't have to bring glasses. I have to bring a moment of levity to tonight because I'll be a ball baby anyways. I gotta tell a funny story about Eddie. When Eddie was a senior, he broke his jaw. And he was a great athlete, and we couldn't do without Eddie. And Eddie wasn't about to sit, so they gave him braces and wired his jaw shut. And he couldn't talk. He had to talk like this. He was like, so we're in California, bored as shit, in the motels, and we're like, well, somebody should poop in a cup and put it in the nightstand next to Eddie's bed because he can only breathe through his nose. So we did that, and it may have been Brent Montague that was part of that. So Eddie's like, who stinks? Who's farting? He was wondering who was farting the whole time, and pretty soon we had to open the drawer and show Eddie that somebody pooped in the cup. I'm embarrassed to have to tell that, but because I'm gonna get emotional the rest of the time, I had to provide that. Yeah, thank you, Eddie. So if you look at the selection criteria, you'll see that you have to be 5 years removed from athletics to be inducted or to be nominated for the Hall of Fame here. And the fact that I'm 28 years removed would suggest that I'm not here because of anything I did on the basketball floor. So I hope that's obvious to you. That's not why I'm here. In fact, I could be the dad of each of the ones that are speaking tonight. Brody, Janelle, and Meg, I'm honored to be a part of this evening with you. Congratulations to you. I'm also humbled to join the many other Hall of Fame inductees that have come before me, including my wife. Yeah. So I'm here because I've been the beneficiary of having tremendous parents, family, and friends. And I work for outstanding organizations led by very supportive people. Perhaps most salient to tonight, I'm here because from 1991 to 1995, MSU Billings provided me a platform for personal growth that set me on a path of success that I'm forever grateful for. To be honest, I felt a hint of shame for induction tonight. I do not feel Hall of Fame worthy. MSUB has given far more to me than I could ever give to it. But tonight, I'm putting that shame aside, as I now have a platform by which to publicly acknowledge those that have made an indelible impact on my life. In 1981, I was 8 years old, and my dad was at the pinnacle of his professional career as a vice president at Coldwell Banker in San Diego. He was having as much success as you could have at that point in his life. But that same year, he decided he didn't want to raise his family in Southern California. He moved us to Red Lodge, Montana. And my dad's willingness to sacrifice his career in order to create a better life for me has been the foundation by which my life has been built. My dad's no longer with us, but his legacy in Montana continues to grow. Mom, you're my hero. You're the most selfless human being I've ever met. And you're the model by which I've tried to live by for 50 years now. I know I'm not even close to the person that you are, but I'm honored to call you my mom. Heather, there are no right words to express how grateful I am for you. Thank you for your unstoppable love and support. And to my children, Haley and Tate, the two of you have already given your mother and I a greater inheritance than we can ever give to you. To Jim and Jay Harris at Yellowstone Bank, the life that my family enjoys today would not be possible without you. You and your customers raised me professionally for 21 years. You taught me about business. You taught me how to communicate. You encouraged me to be different, and you allowed me to learn how to lead. Jerry Souther, you have meant more to me since I was a child than you will ever know. You inflated my ego and my accomplishments dating back to the mid-1980s, and you have been my most trusted confidant in my professional life. To my brother, Corey, my sister, Cam, and we share a bond together that we do not share with anyone else in this world. My love for you is oftentimes unspoken, but I hope you both know there is nothing I would not do for you. To my friends in the audience today, and those that cannot be here, I wish you could stand up here with me, as having you by my side has given me a Hall of Fame life. To Kevin Wood and Krista Montague, the influence you both have had in the recognition and support I have received from MSUB is not lost on me. Your loyalty to me and your loyalty to MSUB is an inspiration, and it's my pleasure to call you my friends. My basketball career at MSUB is forgettable, to be very honest. But the friendships, relationships, and education that came as a result of my time there continue to be my most cherished assets. Thank you, MSU Billings, for the investment you have made in me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty, again. Congratulations. Lastly, here to introduce Janelle Olsen-Bagger, his current MSUB women's basketball coach, Kevin Wood.
Usually I start crying when I talk, but I've already been crying a little bit, Ty. Thank you to everyone for attending tonight, and to all of our MSUB staff who worked so hard to put this special event together. Congratulations to Meg, Brody, and Ty. Meg and Brody, I loved watching you guys play, the way that you could hit the ball, and I saw up close what great leaders and players you were on very successful teams at MSUB. Ty, congratulations, my friend. As many of you know, Ty is one of my best friends. He has literally done it all at MSUB. Player, coach, friend, student, recruiter, referee, fundraiser, personal counselor of mine, committee member, etc. Ty, you have earned this award by your dedication, and you were a much better player than you're giving yourself credit for tonight. Ty is in the top 20 in many statistical categories: scoring, steals, made free throws, and even assists, which some of his friends, Eddie and Brent and some of those people, but I need to go back, because the stories they told me that they were open a lot more than you actually found them. My only regret is I wish I could have seen you play in person. Way to go, buddy. Janelle, thank you for asking me to introduce you tonight. I am truly honored. I am not surprised by the large number of family, friends, and teammates who are here to share your special night with you. Janelle is from Billings West High School, and I think I started recruiting Janelle when she was about 6 years old. She had an intensity even then at our little kids camp, and I knew someday she would become a great player at West High for me. As it turned out, I had to wait a few more years, but I finally did get to coach her. Better late than never. Janelle is an intense competitor, type A personality, sometimes A+. I get a kick out of all the little Roz stories now, as it seems Roz is already a chip off the old block. What a great family you have, Janelle. I've enjoyed getting to know Travis and Roz better this year, and it's nice to see Hal and Mary back in our gym. As a player, Janelle wasn't afraid to get on you as a teammate, but she was also the first to talk to you when you needed support. Janelle took the time to be a great teammate to all of her teammates, no matter their age or how much they played. She's a natural leader. She made me work hard in the recruiting process. I had to outline every part of the offer in writing and in person to her time after time. I finally decided I need to give her a deadline, but I had to do it because her business side kind of scared me. And actually, frankly, it still does. Janelle played with an edge all the time. She is remembered for her defense and should be. She was a GNAC Defensive Player of the Year. She could guard all 5 positions. She is our all-time leading rebounder at 5'9", and she earned multiple all-conference and team honors. She was also a very good and underrated offensive player. She scored nearly 900 points, rarely turned the ball over, set great screens, but her best offensive play was her relentless pursuit of a missed shot, many times her own. When I think of Janelle, I simply think of winner. She played on 4 teams who qualified for the GNAC tourney. She won a league championship and played for another title. Her 2013-14 team was the most talented team I've ever coached, even though I had another team go to the Elite Eight. I legitimately believed we would win the national championship that year. We were dominating the GNAC when injuries started to occur in January and February. First Annie's ACL and then Janelle's ACL. then Quinn's sister's untimely death. Fortunately, our team was deep, united, and talented, and other players stepped up, and the team still accomplished great things. A regular season GNAC championship and a West Regional runner-up, losing to top-rated Pomona in a close game in the last minute. I'm still not over that day. Janelle worked hard on her rehab the next year, but because of her injury happened so late in the season, she redshirted the following year. It was hard for her to not finish her senior season with her fellow freshman recruits, Quinn, Kayleen, and Annie. Janelle did return for a 5th year, though, and helped us to a runner-up finish in the GNAC tournament and another NCAA regional berth. Janelle, I contacted some of your MSUB teammates to ask them to share their thoughts about you. First, from Alicia. Janelle was one person you were always happy was wearing the same jersey as you. I've never met someone who hunted the ball on the glass like she did, and she was an extremely tenacious defender. She had an edge you wished everyone on your team had, and it made you want to play harder. She was a huge voice of encouragement and confidence during my freshman year and helped me step up in situations where I didn't believe I could. I was lucky to play with her and win a ton of games with her, and I am so happy now to get the opportunity to coach with her. She left a huge impact on this program and is extremely deserving of this MSUB Hall of Fame honor. Next, from Bobby. Bobby used the word tenacious for Janelle, which means persistence in maintaining, adhering to, or seeking something valued or desired. This is the best way I can describe Janelle, says Bobby. We went through a lot together during our 3 years, many highs and even some lows. But through it all, one thing I always knew was you would give us 100% of everything she had on the court. She was the master of the dirty work, and she lived for it. Tensions would sometimes run high between us on the court, but we both understood all we wanted to do was win. Congrats, Janelle. You put your heart and soul into the program, and I'm honored I got to play with you. And finally, from her very good friend, Annie. I had the honor of playing with many outstanding players throughout my college career, and Janelle was one of them. If I had to describe Janelle on the basketball court in one word, it would be grit. Janelle was fearless when she was on the court. Her grit was something I admired most. She refused to give up, even after her ACL during our senior year. Her work ethic, leadership, and determination were contagious and inspirational to our whole team. Janelle, I'm so proud of you for blowing past your goals and achieving one of the highest honors a collegiate athlete can receive. In conclusion, congratulations, Janelle. You have earned your MSUB Athletics Hall of Fame status. It's been so great this year to have you back in Alterowitz, helping Alicia and me coach. Our current team is benefiting from you coaching them, and I know they are excited for you tonight as well. I thank you for your friendship and all you gave and continue to give to MSUB women's basketball. Jackets for life.
Okay, well, there's not very many times that you get to say that you actually know who you're being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I can say that I know every single one. So I got to play with Meg. Obviously, she was bawling out something outrageous. We're working on that. That will be our team slogan by the end of this year. And I got to also play with Brody. So I ended up roommating or having 2 roommates that were his teammates. And so we actually got to see quite a bit of Brody. I know Ty,
I think this is safe because you aged yourself, but Danielle and I were just talking that we remember Ty and Heather reffing our high school basketball games. And I just know Ty from being in the community and everything that he does to give back. So it truly is, like I said, an honor to know each and every one of you personally as we get inducted into the Hall of Fame. That being said, I would like to thank the nomination of the Hall of Fame. It was an honor to play for MSUB. From the athletic administration, to the trainers, to the support staff, to the coaches. I would also like to thank my coaches and my teammates before MSUB for continuing to push me and developing me into the player that was ready to be a collegiate athlete. Lastly, my parents. I know the sacrifices you guys have made over the years to support me chasing this dream, and I am forever grateful and honored to be your daughter. To my brother, you are the reason that I'm here. I had no idea I was going to go from the days that my older brother was wrecking me in our driveway playing pig and one-on-one, and me crying to my mom and dad that James wasn't playing fair, to playing college basketball in a very competitive conference. But that is how it started. My brother had developed a love for basketball while I was going to cheerleading camps at YMCA, dance recitals, and ice skating. Slight plot twist. But James needed a practice player, and his little sister was the perfect fit, and I am forever grateful that he chose me to be his practice player because all of those reps landed me on the radar of Coach Wooden. I remember wrapping up my senior year at West High and playing in the Treasure State Classic. We just finished playing another team from across the state, full of girls I had never played before. And there was this one girl that guarded me the entire time, and I swear that she was all over me. After the game, Coach Wooden came up to me and said, "Hey, I would like to introduce you to one of your future teammates." Okay, great. He then introduces me to Annie Depew, the girl that was just in my shorts for the past 40 minutes. This is a sign how freshman year is gonna go. Okay, great. I can say this because Annie was my maid of honor in my wedding, and clearly our friendship turned out okay. Our freshman year was fast and furious. There were 7 of us from all across the state of Montana. There wasn't much of a grace period for us as there was spots to fill and games to be won. We came together, we worked through that year, all of us freshmen growing as players, teammates, into young women. Freshman year, as we all know, is a year full of adjustment. Sophomore year, I distinctly remember because we went from having a nice rest time in between drills and reps to none. We had 8 healthy girls at one point. It was probably the best shape I've ever been in my entire life. This year we played the Montana State Bobcats and won. After beating the Cats, I think that was the first time I've ever heard Coach Wooden use the word stoked, which rightfully so. That bus ride was the best one that we ever came home from, and we got paid to be there, and we won. My senior year, I will come back to that junior year in a minute. After sitting for 18 months while my knee healed from all the damage, I was finally back. At first, I played with a knee brace, and it slowed me down drastically, and Lindsay told me to trust all of my rehab. She ended up being my voice of reason for things beyond my knee injury. She told me to trust the hard work and the process that I had put in. I remember the game that I left my brace in the locker room. I probably went back and checked it about 4 or 5 times, but it did stay down there, and I finally felt like I was back. Not just present, but actually back. I earned the title of Grandma Jan this year, which you would think means that I was responsible, on time, had all of my things together. Well, we made it to the GNAC tournament, and I lost one of my shoes. And I'm the type of person that is type A, A+, and the left sock goes on first, the right sock, the left ankle brace, the right ankle brace, the left shoe, the right shoe, everything has to match. Double Nikes on each side, and I lost my shoe. And so we started looking for a pair of shoes. Well, size 11 women's basketball shoes are a little hard to come by last minute. So we're scrambling, and the next day we walk out and we find that my shoes someone has kindly tied to a tree. And the shoes were back. Everything was right in the world. We finished out my senior year once again with a fabulous group of girls and coaches, and we made it to the regionals. Lastly, that junior year started off amazing. Our team was the kind of special that we knew each other's tendencies so well that we could throw a ball, and we knew that other teammate was going to be there to get it. We knew where we were going to be on the court, and we made the right reads. The chemistry we had on this team was amazing. It was a dream. We all had a huge competitive drive within us to win and compete. All 15 of the girls on this team were from Montana. This year also turned out to be one of the hardest years of our team too. First, Annie tore her ACL, and then I went down shortly after, completely tearing my ACL and partial MCL. I probably should have listened to Dr. Shenton, the surgeon, at this point, but after an intensive Google search, I read that you could brace and play on a torn ACL. And we had made it to the regional championships, so that's what I was doing. Well, playing lasted all of 2 games before I got undercut and my knee pivot shifted on me in the brace. My stomach was somewhere in my ankle at this point, and thank goodness, Lindsay was once again there to pick up all of my pieces. Lastly, this year, our teammate Quinn lost her sister Marissa to cancer while we were at the regional tournament, and we all dedicated those games to her. And that right there is why I cannot imagine playing my college career being anywhere else or anything else than a Yellow Jacket. Life is tricky and it's never fair. There is no way to ever prepare for the waves that come crashing in, but as older players left and new players came in, the term Jackets for Life has always stayed true. We had and still have each other's backs, no matter if we're best friends on or off the court. It was beyond that. It is still beyond that. Today at our practice, our team wore red because February is American Heart Month, and our dear teammate Kayleen is coming due with their 3rd little girl. This little girl has a rare heart condition called hypoplastic left heart syndrome. She is going to need 3 major heart surgeries before she turns 5. Once again, Jackets for Life. As far as Coach Wooden, you will never meet someone who cares more about his players as humans and young women than their basketball output. Yes, he held us to a high standard on the court, but his commitment to seeing us off the court has never wavered. He recruits good talent, but builds a dedicated program, and that is how we won basketball games. We were bought in. Apparently, we are still bought in, as half of my teammates couldn't make tonight because we all have become basketball coaches across the state. He had such an impact on developing young athletes, and because of that, he inspired me to pursue coaching at some point of some capacity so I can hopefully continue on making an impact and developing young athletes on and off the court. Coach Wooden has stayed in touch with me after my college career ended, checking in. He's never missed a birthday, and he's always there to give me career pep talks when I need one. He is one of a kind, and I was extremely fortunate to have him as my final coach. As many of you know, Coach Wooden and Coach Breen asked me to be their 3rd assistant this year. The second I left their office and was outside in the clear, I'm pretty sure I skipped to my car that day. Being back as a Yellow Jacket in a different capacity has been an honor. Once again, they have recruited a wonderful group of young women, and I am so proud of each and every one of them. I now understand at the coaching level the joy that comes after any win, but especially when we beat Western Washington and Alaska Anchorage. In closing, I am forever grateful for the role of being a student athlete that MSUB played over 5 years of my life. It has given me some of the best memories of my life. It has given me my best friends. It has supported me well in my career from a degree standpoint. I even married an MSUB alum. No pressure, Roz, who's out there screaming. And I look forward to watching MSUB continue to make strides in our community and receive the recognition that it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations again. I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful evening tonight as we've honored 4 exceptional people. If those 4 could stand up again, we give you another round of applause, please. This is the 33rd Annual Yellow Jacket Athletics Hall of Fame and Distinction event. And truly, it shows how well you guys have done throughout your lives and how well you've meant to the Jackets. And I think the one thing that you say, Jackets forever? For life. Jackets for life. We might need to add that to some recruiting material, right? I know we have a specific person you came to honor tonight, and we really appreciate your presence, and we have all. We hope you have been able to gain the sense of this Yellow Jacket history tonight. Just a couple housekeeping notes. Be sure to pick up your tickets from the registration table tomorrow's doubleheader event. The women tip off at 5:15, right, ladies? Versus St. Martin's, and the men follow at 7:30 versus Western Washington. Our 2023 Hall of Fame inductees will be honored at halftime of the men's game. You're welcome to join our new Hall of Famers in the Jacket Nest Hospitality Suite during both games of our doubleheader tomorrow. The MSUB Alumni Association has sponsored some appetizers, and we'll have beer available. Right. So you can enjoy some games, with snacks, beer, and a great view. The suite is open to our new Hall of Famers, their families, and guests starting 1 hour before tip-off of the first game, and beer service will stop at halftime of the second game. Inductees, congratulations again, and welcome to the MSUB Yellow Jackets Athletics Hall of Fame and Distinction. You are class number 33. Guests, thank you so much for coming tonight to honor these 4 inductees. We hope you see you tomorrow night at the games. You can get your parking validated downstairs at the hotel reception desk on the first floor. And Holly is back there because we have another round of beer, our drink sponsored by the Missoula Motor Company. So feel free to enjoy another round. Yeah, round of applause for that. And if the inductees will make their way to the stage, all 4 inductees will have one more picture with your plaque. Shai will take the picture. Thank you all for coming and have a wonderful evening. Shai.